Okay, our last chapter in lesson 3 is lien laws. Construction lien, L-I-E-N. It is a claim against real property for debts unpaid for materials or labor. Liens secure for real property improvements. Those entitled to file a lien are the original contractor, the subcontractors and employees of either the original contractor and the subcontractor, suppliers of material and equipment. Note, there are some others, but these are the most common. So the construction lien law in Oregon is not in every state. This is a law particular to our state. What is an owner? Anyone who claims/has ownership in property and improvements. What is a mortgagee? A mortgagee holds the mortgage or the loan that is associated with the property. Typically, this would be a bank. The mortgagee, in addition to the owner, gets a notice of right to a lien if the subcontractor who delivers the notice is responsible for materials as well as labor. Now, you haven't heard anything about the notices to protect your lien rights, but your basic notice is called the Notice of Right to a Lien. When you are a subcontractor and you come onto a project as a subcontractor, you're the floor covering sub, you're doing plumbing, electrical, then you need to send within 8 working days, you need to send a notice called a Notice of Right to a Lien to the property owner. If you are supplying labor, it only needs to go to the property owner. If you are supplying material, like we did at Lansing Linoleum Company, you will also have to send a notice to the mortgagee, the person, the institution that holds the loan. So it has to go to both those people if you supply both materials and labor. There are services to help you do this. All the information about who owns a piece of property is public information. You can find it out online by yourself and send the appropriate notice, or you can use a service that will send notices for you. The Home Buyers Protection Act. This must be provided. The Home Buyers Protection Act, that's a notice, the name of a notice. It must be provided with the sale of a new residential structure. It is also required if an improvement costing at least $50,000 is completed within 3 months of the proposed sale of the improved property. What does it do? It protects new home buyers from construction liens. Now, I'm talking about the construction lien law, and that lien law protects us, the contractors. But we have the responsibility of delivering them a notice, the Home Buyer Protection Act, that explains to them about our right to lien their property. And thus, it alerts them that they will have to make sure that all the subcontractors on the project have been paid. There are 3 phases to the process of filing a lien in the state of Oregon. There are several deadlines along the way, which can make the process daunting if you're not used to it. If that is the case for you, it's a good idea to get some help. If you actually have to file a lien, this would be in the case where you are a subcontractor on a job, you have sent your notice of right to a lien to the owner, or possibly to the owner and the mortgagee. If you were Lansing Linoleum, you're supplying the carpet and you're installing it. You've sent your notice. Now, a project is over. General contractor did not pay you. So now you're going to look at the lien filing process. There are 3 phases of the lien process. There's the pre-claim phase, when you haven't made your claim yet. There's the recording of the claim of lien, where you are going to record your claim for debt, for what you are owed, against the deed of the property. That's recording a claim of lien. And then after you have attached your claim to the deed, there is the post-claim phase after you've already put the claim on the deed. So you've got pre-claim, then you've got the recording a claim of lien, and then you have post-claim. Let's talk a little bit about pre-claim. The owner must receive the information notice to owner about construction liens. It must be delivered by the contractor when the contract is signed for all projects more than $2,000. Now, in this pre-claim process, this must have happened at some point. That information notice to owner about construction liens is one of the 3 notices that are given to owners along with the contract when they sign a contract with a general contractor. Now, subcontractors and material suppliers and equipment rental companies should deliver a notice called the Notice of Right to a Lien. It must be delivered within 8 days of the commencement of work. So in the top part of this page, we're talking about the person, the contractor who has the contract with the property owner. In the second half, we're talking about subcontractors. If you are operating as a subcontractor, you need to deliver a notice of right to a lien, alerting the owner of the property and the mortgagee that you are a person who could file a lien on the property deed if they are not paid. So we had the pre-claim. Now we have the recording a claim of lien. It must be recorded with the county where the job is located. Now, in all my 35 years, I only did one of these, and I did do it myself. I went to the county to record my claim on a deed. On it, it must have a demand for the amount that is owed. In this case, I think mine was about $5,000. It has to have the name of the owners of the property. And it must have the name of the original contractor if you were a subcontractor that did not get paid. Now I do that, and there it is. It's sitting there. Now the owners of the property and the mortgagee, they're aware of this. Now I wait and I see if one of them decides to go ahead and pay me. Hopefully they will, and I won't have to go to the next step. All they want to tell you about post-claim, after you've filed the claim, is if you still don't get paid, there are a couple of other notices that come along. Every time you send a notice to the property owner or the mortgagee, they have a certain amount of days to respond. There's a post-claim notice called Notice of Filing a Claim of Lien. This is where you're going to tell them, I just got through filing a claim against your deed. And there is also a notice of intent to foreclose. Okay, here's the beauty of this law. I worked on a big project. I did all the framing. The general contractor did not pay me. I sent all my notices to the owners when I started, so they knew I could file a lien. I went down, I filed my claim for my $50,000 to be paid for the framing. I put it on there. I sent them a notice of that I filed this claim of lien, so they've had 30 days to get it together and pay me. Now there's one more step that I can do. I can send a notice of intent to foreclose. Now, doing a foreclosure without an attorney is probably not a likely scenario. So here I'm going to need my attorney to help me in foreclosure. Foreclosure on a lien forces the sale of the property and requires the payment of my lien before the title can be cleared for the new owner. So it's a very powerful tool. If you follow all the steps and you send your notices, you will be protected for your contribution to the property. Now, in the event that I need to foreclose, I am going to have some expenses, so I'm not going to get back my entire amount. My amount of $5,000 was not enough to get an attorney and go to foreclosure. So I let it stay. 5 years later, the owner came stomping into the store, threw the check on the counter while hollering at me that he was getting a divorce when we put the carpet in there and his wife should have paid me. I got paid. The end of the story was it came in randomly 5 years later when the property changed hands because they could not sell it without clearing my claim. Note, there are very specific deadlines at this phase. They are hard to keep straight under the best of conditions. Know that if you do get to this phase of the lien process, you've got to understand the timelines and get your information straight. What do you need to know? This is a few mock questions to remind you of this process. What do you need to know about the Notice of Compliance with Home Buyer Protection Act? Choose 3 of these answers. It is required for the sale of new residential property. True. B, it is required if an improvement costing at least $50,000 is completed within 3 months of the sale of the improved property. True. It must be delivered no later than the date of the sale of the property. True. It replaces the need for a warranty. False. If a subcontractor supplies both labor and materials, who gets the notice of right to a lien? Choose 2. A, the attorney for the owner. No. B, the mortgagee, the company that holds the loan. Yes. C, the property owner. Yes. D, the original contractor. No. What do you need to know about the pre-claim phase of the lien process? Choose 2 answers. A, the owner must receive the information notice to owner about construction liens notice from the original contractor when a contract is signed. True. B, subcontractors should deliver a notice of right to lien within 8 days of commencing his or her contribution to the project. True. Other 2, not true. If you are a subcontractor, what do you need to know about pre-claim notices if you're a subcontractor? Choose 2. A, you should deliver a notice of right to a lien to the owner. True. B, it must include the names of your nearest relatives. False. C, it must include problems that you've had on previous jobs. False. D, the notice of right to a lien must be delivered within 8 days of beginning work. True. What do you need to remember about the post-claim phase? I've already filed my claim on the deed. That's the post-claim phase. Choose 2. A, there is a notice of intent to foreclose. True. B, the owner is not part of this phase. False. C, the contractor is responsible for paying subcontractors. True, but false in this case, not the answer we're looking for. D, there is a notice of filing a claim of lien. Now, here's why this whole lien law is tricky. Could be for you as well if you are a property owner. How an owner could pay twice. The owner signs a $50,000 contract with the original contractor. The terms of the contract dictate that the owner pays $25,000 up front and $25,000 on completion. The original contractor signs a subcontract with Kathleen, the subcontractor, for the flooring, paying half down, $5,000 up front. At the completion of the job, the owner pays the original contractor the balance of the contract, that $25,000 that they owed. The original contractor, however, does not pay Kathleen. He does not pay the subcontractor the balance owed on the subcontract, which is $5,000. Because Kathleen, the subcontractor, sent the notice of right to a lien to the owner on the day she started work, the owner is now responsible for paying Kathleen again. Paying Kathleen. Okay, I was supposed to get paid by the general contractor, but I did not. The owner paid the general contractor the $5,000 I was supposed to get, but he didn't give it to me. But I have filed a claim, a lien, on the deed, so now the owner gets to pay me again. Okay, reviewing. How is it that an owner can end up paying for a project twice? Choose 3. A, the subcontractor delivered a notice of right to a lien the day she started work. Yes. B, the owner was friends with the subcontractor. No. C, the original contractor did not give final payment to the subcontractor. True. At the completion of the project, the owner gave that original contractor the final payment, but they did not pay the subcontractor. So now the owner can end up paying for the project twice. What defines a construction lien? Choose 2 answers. A, it is a claim against real property. True. That is the definition of a construction lien. B, the original contractors, subcontractors, and material suppliers are all entitled to a construction lien. True. They are all on that list. C and D, not true. What distinguishes an owner from a mortgagee? Choose 2. A, an owner has a direct connection to the property. True. B, a mortgagee holds the mortgage or the loan associated with the property. I've actually had a few people ask me, well, if the bank has, if I pay the bank every month, do they own the property? Answer, no. They own the loan. Now, I can tell you they put a lien on that deed because they do want to be paid back, and they are first in line. So they've covered themselves, but they don't actually have a direct connection to the property. They are not the owner of the property. C, an owner can never be more than one person. False. D, a mortgagee never knows the location of the property. False.